Monotype presents Enhancing CCJK Glyphs Design, empowering global designers to create and identify high-quality fonts by Ryota Doi and Tao Di.
Hello everyone, I'm Ryota Doi, a type designer at Monotype, based in Tokyo. I specialize in Japanese type design, but I also work with multilingual typography, collaborating with designers worldwide.
And I am Tao Di, also a type designer at Monotype, joining from Shanghai. My focus is on Chinese type design, but like Lyota, I work with global scripts and love exploring the intersection of design and technology. Before we dive into today's main topic, I'd like to briefly introduce Monotype's contribution to multilingual font development. We will work on a variety of projects to support global typography, and I'll share a quick overview of our work. Let me introduce two recent CCJK custom projects. In the past 2 years, we designed an HMI system font for Guiwu Motor, which is a global intelligent technology company engaged in automobile and parts design, R&D, production, sales, and service. Designing a Latin font for a system is much more reasonable and cost-effective, but designing a Chinese font is not an easy task for both Guiwu Motor and Monotype. A lot of testing has been done to adapt to the multiple usage scenarios in car screen. The last time I came to BIS 10, it hasn't finished yet. Now it's being used in all Guiwu Motor vehicles. The next project is another system font for Xiaomi, which is a Chinese tech giant and now a global top 3 phone maker. The font's name is Mi Sans Global. 2 years ago, we designed Thai, Lao, and 9 Hindi scripts based on Mi Sans Latin. And now we are developing Japanese and Korean for Mi Sans Global. Nowadays, more and more international enterprises are beginning to pay attention to CCJK scripts.
With that context in mind, let's move on to the key topic of our session, CCJK typography, specifically Hanzi and kanji design. As the demand for multilingual fonts grows, more designers are working with these scripts. But even with advanced tools, recognizing and creating high-quality CCJK fonts remains a challenge, especially for those who do not speak Chinese or Japanese. That is why we want to share practical insights into what makes good Hanzi and kanji design. By the end of this session, we hope you'll feel more confident in evaluating and even designing CCJK fonts yourself.
At first, let's review some basic information of CCJK. I'm sure that you are all familiar with Latin style, their serif, sans serif, script, and graphic style. Similarly, CCJK font can be divided into these categories. The most commonly used style are sans serif and serif, and each character contains a variety of strokes: dot, horizontal stroke, vertical stroke, diagonal strokes, hook, and so on. Next, let's see the same characters with different writing criteria in different regions. In China, mainland, Singapore, and Malaysia, people use simplified Chinese Hanzi. In Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan, people use traditional Chinese Hanzi. In Japan, we call them kanji, and in Korea, we call them hanja. The interesting thing is that although they are written differently, people across different regions can recognize them all. In addition to this, in Japan, people use hiragana and katakana with kanji. In Korea, people use hangul with hanja. Now, back to Lyota.
Thanks, Zhao. Now, I'd like to share how we are supporting the next generation of type designers. Last year, Monotype launched its first internship in Asia, welcoming a student to explore CCJK font design. Our intern, Jad, is a graduate student from France, researching the relationship between Latin and Japanese type design. To deepen her understanding, she spent 3 months in Japan, immersing herself in Japanese typography. It was a valuable experience for both her and us as mentors, offering fresh insights into CCJK type design. The internship program was structured in several steps, allowing Jad to build her skills and eventually contribute to our font creation project. She started by learning the fundamentals of Japanese font design, then moved on to kanji creation training. After that, she trained in hiragana and katakana creation, gaining expertise in these essential scripts. In the final phase, Jad engaged in practical project, applying what she had learned to font design work. In today's presentation, we'll focus on kanji design. Since Jad's native language is not Japanese, it was undoubtedly challenging for her. However, observing her learning process made us realize that this experience could help non-Japanese or non-Chinese type designers evaluate kanji fonts. On the screen, you can see some of the sketches Jad created during her internship. While we can easily use computers to create clean Bezier curves, Jad started by sketching with pencil. Although it may seem inefficient, we believe that this traditional method helped her develop a deeper understanding of kanji design, which ultimately sped up her learning process. In kanji design, there are fundamental principles that are crucial, and one area where Jad struggled was optical adjustment. On the screen, you'll see the characters designed with a blue guideline, ensuring they do not exceed this line. But the question is this a good font design? The answer is no. High-quality, legible kanji requires balancing size and proportion visually, rather than strictly following the guideline. For example, characters with fewer strokes may appear too large if designed to match the guideline, so they need to be made slightly smaller. On the other hand, shapes like the kanji, which has a diamond shape, which is on the top right corner, may appear too small if following the guideline, so they need to be slightly larger, even exceeding the guideline. This concept is similar to overshoot in Latin type design, but since kanji fonts have varying sizes within a single typeface, it requires more flexibility in approach. Just like when designing the Latin alphabet, learning about optical illusion is also crucial in kanji design. Can you see the difference between the top and bottom rows of characters? The bottom row is designed with optical illusion in mind. Let's zoom in a bit to take a closer look. Here's the before state, and now here is the after, where optical illusion consideration have been applied. Do you notice how the horizontal strokes are slightly tilted upward to the right? This adjustment helps prevent optical illusion, where the horizontal strokes appear to slant downwards to the right due to the angled diagonal strokes in the character. This kind of adjustment is common in high-quality fonts to ensure better visual balance. Handling dark spots is also crucial in kanji design, much like the ink trap technique used in Latin alphabet design. The character on the left has enough space, so the treatment for dark spots may only require minimal adjustment. However, the character on the right is different. The character on the left has been compressed horizontally and placed as a radical. If we simply compress it further, the stroke thickness will suffer and unwanted dark spot will appear. This is where a treatment similar to an ink drop is necessary. Even when characters have similar radicals, the width and height of those radicals can vary from character to character. So it's important to handle each case carefully. In terms of handling dark spots, thickness adjustment is another important factor. On the screen, you see the 3 characters composed mostly of horizontal and vertical strokes. Would it be okay to use the same thickness for both the horizontal and vertical strokes? I'm sure everyone here would answer no. Jad understood this principle based on her fundamental training, and she created these sketches. They look quite good, but let's take a more critical look from a professional perspective. While design philosophies vary across boundaries, this is how we at Monotype approach it. For instance, if you look at the character in the middle, we design the thickest stroke to match the longest stroke. For more complex strokes, we make them thinner to ensure they do not stand out too much when viewed from a distance. Now let's dive deeper from the perspective of professional type designers specializing in Japanese and Chinese script. One key aspect we focus on is the balance of darkness within each character and across the entire font. Let's revisit the darkness of adjustment that just struggled with earlier and take a closer look at more complex character. On the left is the before design, and on the right is the after with adjustment made. To move from left to right, we need to focus on several key points. I'm listing them, but don't worry, you don't need to read all of them. Just focus on the key ideas. You can see the long strokes, which are main pillars of the character, appear thicker in after version, and the spaces between strokes are more evenly balanced. When these characters appear in various contexts, whether on websites, in articles, or on screens, characters with more strokes are mixed with simpler ones, as well as hiragana and katakana. If we do not carefully adjust the darkness of each character, certain elements will stand out and affect readability. It's not just about balancing individual characters. We must also maintain overall harmony when characters are placed together. High-quality fonts ensure this balance.
Any other details worth mentioning? Let's see this character. Is it look good enough? What details could be improved? See these small gaps. They are not obvious in the small size, but they can make the character look too fancy. So which one is better? Yeah, the right one. Its white spaces are more clear and minimal. Next case, please look at again the difference between these two. Which one is better? The right one looks better, don't you think? But why? Because its radicals fit together more naturally, like two puzzles, not two boxes. The spacing between radicals is evenly divided, make the whole character appear to be individual rather than divided. Cracked letter forms are not enough. Let's see this character U. The horizontal and the diagonal stroke will intersect in upper left corner, and the beginning of the horizontal stroke can be a little longer than the junction. Or it can be just at the junction. In China, both of these two writing criteria are acceptable. But in Japan, the first design will likely not be accepted in Japan in most cases. Are there differences in spacing concepts between China and Japan? Both horizontal and vertical typesetting are widely used in Japanese typography. The vertical is for something Japanese, traditional, novels, and other humanist writing. Horizontal for contemporary business documents, scientific, and foreign languages related writings. But only horizontal typesetting is familiar with Chinese people. In Chinese font, each character is required to be placed in a 1,000 unit box. If you want more readability, we can make its bounding box a bit smaller to have a larger spacing.
In Japanese fonts, unlike typical Chinese fonts, there are glyphs designed for solid typesetting and proportional typesetting, and the kerning values are set accordingly. These settings are usually applied to hiragana and katakana, but some kanji also have proportional typesetting glyphs. For example, here we have the kanji numerals 1, 2, 3 set vertically from the top. On the left is a solid typesetting version, and in the middle is a proportional typesetting version. As Japanese speakers, we can recognize the three glyphs in this setup. Now let's look at the right arrangement. What do you notice? Some may see it as simply 6 horizontal strokes lined up. This highlights the importance of considering how how characters will align with others when designing them, particularly in terms of spacing. By the way, this is just my perspective as a Japanese designer, but how would a Chinese designer view this? How can you still read the middle or right arrangement properly?
Yeah. Oh, that looks a bit weird. Let me thought as 2 or 3 groups of lines, but not a sentence. The demand for CCJK scripts is increasing worldwide. Let's take a look at some examples. First, in Japan, we often see signage where Japanese is primary languages, accompanied by English, Chinese, and Korean. In China, a similar pattern appears with Chinese as the main language, and English, Japanese, and Korean included. What's particularly interesting in this example from Australia? This photo was taken in Brisbane, where alongside English, we see Chinese, Arabic, Korean, and Japanese. As CCJK languages become more visible beyond Asia, maintaining a sense of unity with high-quality fonts is essential. For instance, Monotype offers fonts like SST, Tazugani Gothic, and its Chinese version Xianghe Hei, Korean version Seoul Sans. All of them were demanded to match Noi Frutiger and Shorai Sans. These typefaces support multiple languages, allowing for a consistent voice across different scripts with a single font family. And the Shorai Sans is demanded to match Avenir Next.
Right. So as we've seen throughout this presentation, designing high-quality fonts requires both technical knowledge and a trained eye. While we have many useful tools to assist us, it's equally important to develop the ability to recognize and refine good typography ourselves. Balancing innovation with craftsmanship is key. Tools can enhance efficiency, but true expertise comes from understanding the finer details that make a typeface work. By combining both, we ensure that the font we create and use contribute to better readability, functionality, and design consistency across languages. I hope this presentation has provided valuable insight, and I look forward to continuing the conversation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.